that is to me worth everything. I mean, they have like a wonderful, you know. It's nice to see them joyful. Yeah, you know, they got walkers, they got stuff, you know, all their issues, but they really let go, and they give them free tickets, you know, to go get terrible. I mean, like rock up, corn dogs, which I don't know. And, but anyway, it was really fun. Actually, it was really fun, you know. So it's I don't consider it work because everyone's so, you know, it's a fun event. And it's not mine. It's not mine. It's present case. Right, I'm not. Yeah, right. And yeah, and I have a development person. Who's phenomenal. So I basically just show up and be stupid. Yeah. It's fun. Everything else. You can get up at night. Todd said that? Oh, Todd is like, oh, that's lovely. So rich. We could.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's last call for waffles. Anybody want a waffle? We welcome everybody that's already watching on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin our service in just a few minutes. So sit back, relax. Last call for Waffle Hall. Last call for Waffle Hall. And thank you, Sam, for setting this up, and Sue, and everyone else that helped. Waffles are my favorite dessert. I love the smell in here. It's awesome. Sorry on Facebook. Hopefully you can get some of the smell through your computer.
I know, I heard. I don't know who you were. Yeah, that's fake. Yeah. Probably. Well, it's really not.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Metairie. Our new starting time, our grand reopening. We're so glad you're here. Join with us this morning. We know that life is so good. Every day I'm so thankful, grateful for the day on my horizon. See all that I am, all I can be. Oh, it's just the gratitude shining through me. Nature's gift to me. Perfect place to be. I've got to love in myself so I can see. There's only beauty in you, beauty in me. Oh, stand together and let the whole world sing. So grateful, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful. My life is so good, yes it is, so precious and good. With every breath I take, with every step I take, it takes me higher on the path of awakening. See through the eyes of love, there's only one of us. So let's be thankful for all that's been given us. No need to live in fear, all hearts of life is here. So come on, let love come shining in. Smiling faces, warm embraces. Let's all stand up and let the whole world know I'm grateful. I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, yes, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, life is so good. So good morning, everybody. This is Unity of Metairie. If you're here for the first time, Unity is a wonderful spiritual path where we honor all religions, all lifestyles, all spiritual paths. We believe that wherever we are, God is. And there's a presence within you this morning that is greater than anything in this world, that divine presence. So let's celebrate with gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful. My life is so good, life is so good. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, life is so good, life is so good, life is so good. So take just a moment and say hello to your spiritual family with some hugs and handshakes, y'all. Good morning, everybody. All right, y'all. Let's get in those last clubs. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Smell those waffles. Man, they smell good. Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning. So we welcome you this morning. We are Unity of Metairie. I am Reverend Jack Fowler, the spiritual director, and I'm so happy to be here with you this morning on my birthday. Yes, I think I'm counting. I've got 5 birthday cakes so far. I got one today from a special family that comes here of a cat. Of course, you hear me talking about Oliver. And Oliver, Sophia made that, and Oliver actually has a little O. Oliver name tag on the cake. So thank you, Sophia. That's awesome. So happy to be here this morning. If we have anybody here for the first time, just simply raise your hand. We're not going to embarrass you that bad, or you can just sit and relax if you would like. And we're going to hand a packet here to you. We got one over here. And Bill's getting a workout today. And so this packet just contains some information about, we got one more over here, Bill. Contains some information about Unity, what we do here locally, what we're all about, and also what Unity does all around the world. We're about 135 years old. And if you wouldn't mind filling out this little card on the back and just let us know what you thought about the service, that would be great. You can drop that in the offering as well. And we welcome everybody here. If you've been here 100 times or whatever. What I love about Unity and why it appeals to me so much is that, as I said during the song there, that we honor all religions. We're definitely not a religion, and thank goodness for that. We don't need any more of that. We're a philosophical way to live our lives in a way that we can show that divine presence within us and live the best life possible. We believe that we're all beautiful children of God, deserving of all good things. And so that's what we're all about. If you ever have any questions, feel free to call us here at the office or email us. You can visit our website at unityofmetairie.com. I'd also like to give a special shout out to everyone that's watching us today as our online family continues to grow. We welcome everyone that's watching on Facebook today. Sit back with your coffee or whatever you're drinking, relax, and join in the service. I hope that you can feel the same love that we feel here in this building. So welcome everybody. So speaking of great things, we're going to have our kids come up. And we have a wonderful youth program that happens here every Sunday as we have our children's service going on. So we're going to bring these kids up. Everyone is, we got these two. Anybody just feel like a kid and want to join us today? I kind of do feel like a kid. Hey, but I think you need to bring down the piano mic a little bit. That's what's bringing all that feedback. So we're going to send this blessing to these kids. And we're going to also send blessing to children all over the world. May they recognize and know who they are as divine expressions of life. So let's give this blessing to them. Say with me, children of light, we bless you. We see you loved, guided, and protected by God's presence. And New Orleans style, we love you hard, hard, hard. We swear to God. All right, y'all, let's give them a hand. They go back to, we appreciate everyone that volunteers also with our youth program. They're always needing teachers. If you feel inspired to help out with that youth program, there's also a sign-up sheet in the Welcome Center. You can let us know there. I don't know about you, but I need to take a big, deep breath and just relax. Let's just all do that now. Just breathe in as deeply as possible. Becoming centered here and now in this moment. Knowing that we have come together here for a holy purpose. There are no mistakes in the mind of God. You are exactly where you need to be this morning. So let's just relax in knowing this truth. Being grateful for the spiritual community and all of the love and all the transformation and community that we feel here. We say thank you, God, for this amazing place, for our spiritual tribe where we feel at home, safe, and loved. We begin our service by listening to these inspiring thoughts from the Daily Word.
Today's daily word is rejoice. Sunday, October 7th, 2018. I rejoice in unlimited possibilities. The Apostle Paul describes himself in his second letter to the Corinthians as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. He calls upon his followers in Philippi to rejoice in the Lord always. By recognizing and thinking about the positive, the lovely, the excellent, and the praiseworthy energies in my life, I claim them and increase them. I rejoice when I feel and express the joy of eternal spirit. There is energy in the infinite good that brings all people together in consciousness. I join with the others in knowing and affirming that nothing is denied us through faith. I keep my focus on positive energies, bringing them into greater expression in my life. I rejoice in unlimited possibilities. And today's daily word is taken from Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice.
So let's take these words in this morning, realizing that laughter and joy are the cornerstone of our spiritual work. Sometimes we focus so much on meditation and stillness, and all those things are important, but there's a healing, beautiful thing that comes when we feel the joy and we feel that laughter. So we come together with spiritual family this morning. Go ahead and silence your cell phone this morning or anything else that might make a noise as we begin to move into a deeper time of prayer and meditation. Once again, just taking a big, deep breath, becoming centered right here, right now. Recognizing that the only time that you have is this moment. The past is over. The future isn't guaranteed. Everything you need is right here, right now, in this moment. So we relax and trusting in this truth, knowing that this group of people in this space, in this time, in this building will never ever happen exactly like this again. So this is a holy, beautiful, and sacred moment, unique. But we have been brought together here by a magnificent, loving force, the force that is love, the source that is peace, that presence within all of us. And it's there, right here, right now. Right here, right now. We have come into the presence of God, and our hearts are open to the love that's found right here, right now. Right here, right now. We have come into the presence of God, and our hearts are open to the love that's found right here, right now. And our hearts are open. And our hearts are open to the love that's found right here, right now. Within you, in this moment, there is a presence. There is a power in the invisible. There is a loving presence that came in with you into this world. It is who you are, your true essential self, created in the image and likeness of God. We know that there is one power, one presence, one infinite love. And so this morning we light our Christ candle. This serves as a symbol and representation of this one light, this one power within all living things. It is a thread that connects all of us. For in the end, there's only one of us in the room. One holiness, one presence, one love. And we reach this love only when we move into the stillness, into the silence. For there is a language that's spoken without words as we move into silence and stillness. Hey, go ahead and bring my mic down just a little bit. Thank you. Oh, much better. In this moment, there's a power within you in the invisible, greater than anything in this world. It knows the answer to any question you may have today. It can solve any problem you may have today. It can heal any dis-ease that you may have today. It is the very power and presence of God. And as we move into a deeper time of prayer and meditation to access this power, I would invite you to join me, continuing to relax. If you choose, put both feet flat on the floor. Just beginning to consciously breathe, watching your breath. Breathing in deeply. Breathing in, feel your abdomen expand. Letting go. And if any time during this meditation, if you become distracted or irritated, just simply bring your attention back to that breath. Become the watcher of your breath. Beginning to allow your body to completely relax. Releasing any tension in your legs, your abdomen, your chest. Feel your shoulders gently drop. As you begin to come centered here and now. Completely surrendering to this space and this time, this moment. For this presence within us is only accessible when we quiet our minds and allow ourselves to become still and listen. We hear the words, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still and know that all is well. So we surrender to the perfection of this moment, of this time. Turning all of our focus and attention inward, into the stillness, into the silence. Breathing. Letting go. Surrendering. As you allow yourself to move into the silence, you reach your true essential self, who you really are, created in the image and likeness of God. You are the beloved. You are loved. And you are enough just as you are. As your body continues to relax and become quiet, take a moment to look at your thoughts. See what's there. And realize that you have the power within you for your mind to become still and quiet. As we choose to let go of all the chatter, the extraneous thought that always runs through our mind. For right below this thought in the silence, this is where miracles happen. This is where we remember who we are. Here in that space, that gap between your thoughts, here is where transformation happens. Allow yourself to become completely still and quiet. Begin to feel a peace from within. A sense of home. A sense of belonging. A sense of being. In the stillness. In the silence. And that sacred gap between your thoughts and the emptiness. Here is where you find yourself. Here is where you find God. Breathing in the very breath of God. Breathing in the still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. And from this place of stillness, we say, thank you, God, for this time together, as we know that everything that needs to be said will be said, and everything that needs to be heard will be heard. We're grateful to come together this morning with a group of like-minded people who are here to love, to support, as we remind each other of our magnificence. Thank you, God, as we breathe in together, and so it is. Amen. So good morning again, everyone. So how do you like the new starting time? Got to get used to it? I know I have to get used to it. I was scrambling this morning. I had like an extra cup of coffee. Like, I'm trying to get out. So welcome. Once again, welcome anyone that's here for the first time, for you all that have been here through all these years. We recently, if you remember, celebrated, if you were here, our 40th anniversary, and it's just completely amazing to me that our spiritual community has been here that long, and I just think about all that has happened during that time, the ups and the downs, and the big groups and the little groups, and all the spiritual directors that have been here, and I just love the fact that all of that has come together to bring us together here in this room, exactly where we need to be. The exact people that are supposed to be here are sitting in these seats today. And it took a lot of people coming before us to make this happen, and I love that. I kind of have an idea, and I mentioned this last week, about as people grow in consciousness and awareness over the years, we get to stand on their shoulders and see a little bit further. And that's one of the reasons it's so important for us to do our spiritual work and begin to see the world differently and more lovingly and more beautifully, is because the ones that come behind us get to stand on our shoulders and see further, even further than that. So I'm just grateful for the spiritual family. That's all that I'm trying to say, and everyone that is a part of it. And thank you so much, everyone that was involved in doing the waffles. They were so delicious this morning. We welcome everybody on Facebook, and so glad that you joined us today. And you're probably sitting there with coffee in your pajamas, getting ready for the Saints game later, just as we are. Now, all of you hardcore Saints people are probably really excited that we're starting at 10:30, because if there's a Superdome game, you could probably make it by the time we get done. Well, I'm carrying a little bit of my cat today. As all of you know, I talk about my cats a lot. I'm carrying a little bit of my cat on my shirt today. I wasn't even going to wear the shirt. I brought like a dressier shirt, because you know I like to wear my, I wear flip-flops and shorts all during the week. If you see, sometimes people see me like out and about, and they do a double take and say, I didn't recognize you without your minister outfit on, you know. And so I had this other shirt, and my friend Stephen gave me this for my birthday last night, and I wore this today just to eat my waffles and set up this morning. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and wear it, and you know, for the service. And then as soon as I started to sit down at the piano and it's too late to change, I'll see all this cat fur on me. So hopefully you might, I don't know if you can see it on Facebook, but don't pick up cats in the morning to give them kisses when you got black. That is the that is the note. That's the wisdom for today. So once again, let's just all breathe in, become relaxed. We are all, I believe, in the middle of reinventing our lives. I believe that the world is reinventing itself. I know for sure that our country is reinventing itself. And many times when that happens, it looks like chaos. And we know that in our personal lives as well. A lot of times when it's time for something new to show up, everything else that's not like that newness has to fall away. And I think that's what, well, I know that's for sure what's happening in our country and what's happening within our personal lives. And, you know, I would love to say, you know, if we could do something to have peace on earth and have beauty on earth and all these things, but actually the only way to do that, and I know we've tried it before, and it's okay if you feel like you need to be an activist and all that is good, but all of the real change of work happens within. All of it does. And you know, sometimes here we sing the peace song, If you're not familiar with it, it was that "Let there be peace on earth." That's kind of a unity thing we've done for years, and every now and then we sing it here. And it says in there, "Let there be peace on earth." What's the next line? Let it begin with who? With me. It all begins with us. That's where all change happens. So if you want to contribute to our country being a more loving place, if you want to contribute to the world being a more loving place, then the only thing that you can do in this very moment is to be more loving yourself and to cultivate peace within yourself. That's the way we make change. As I said, some of us are called to do things in the outer world, and that's okay. I mean, if you need to sign a petition, if you need to march, all that stuff is good, but realize that that's just an outer thing that you can do, symbolizing what's really happening within you. And to me, it's exciting to know that I can have a peaceful life in a peaceful world without getting anyone's else permission. I used to think that all the conditions of my life had to be right for me to be happy. Have you ever felt that before? You know, once I get that perfect job, for instance, or once I find that perfect, hot, sexy boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever your preference, everything will be okay. Or once I get this, this amount of money that I'm getting, everything's going to be okay. I've kind of dealt with that with my mom. You know, my mom made her transition a couple years ago, and her house sold many months ago, back in March. And with all this hold up in the probate court, which I didn't know there was so much that had to be gone with settling an estate. If you've ever done that before, it's crazy. I just thought you took the papers down there and they said, "Here's the check." It doesn't happen that way. And I found myself back in March and April after her house sold, and we were going to get some money, myself and my sisters, that I started living like with that money already. Like I was saying, once I get this is going to be taken care of, and I can go ahead and pay this bill. And I was kind of living in some future money. Have you ever done that before? Have you ever lived in future money? And I realized, March happened, April happened, May happened, June, July, August, September, still no money. And I thought, you know what? I realized a few months ago, I have to just be happy, like right now. I mean, all is well. I have enough to pay my bills, and I have the money that I need. It's just, I just was thinking to myself, and I'm using that example, once I get that chunk of money, all these other things are going to work out. And that's really not the truth. We can choose to live a peaceful, happy, wonderful life just with what we have right now. Nothing or nobody or anything is going to make that happen. I love that Abraham Hicks in their teaching says there's no such thing as a happy life. And that can be discouraging when you first hear it. There's no such thing as a happy life. However, there is billions of little happy moments that are strung together that make up a happy life. It's a whole different way of looking at things. I believe our small little ego self, the part of us that convinces us that we're small and limited and all these things, wants us to believe that everything's in the future. Course in Miracles says the reason that we have manufactured time within our mind and into the world is because we don't believe that God's promises are true right now. We don't believe they're true right now. Well, they are true right now. The things that are promised us, if we completely surrender and let go of all those things that no longer serve us, we're deserving to have a wonderful, beautiful, productive, financially stable. All those things are part of prosperity. Because prosperity is not just about money. You know, when you hear the word prosperous, people usually think of money. Money's just a part of it. True prosperity is when you have wonderful relationships and you have wonderful, a great job in your vocation that you love. It comes in one package. That's what true prosperity is. So, a couple of weeks ago, I got to see Aladdin. Anybody get to go see that at the Singer Theater? It was awesome. Did you try to figure out, how did you think that carpet flew? I was like, what is happening? It was pretty crazy. We were talking about last night, a few friends got together for a little birthday soiree, and that came up again. We were all like, how did that carpet fly?
I know how it flies.
You know how it flies?
I'll
Kathy, you're going to tell me later?
I'll tell you after.
Okay, good. Well, you tell me later so we won't spoil the secret if you haven't seen it. Well, I actually saw the actors that played the two main characters, Aladdin and Jasmine, the beautiful princess, say on an interview, have you ever gone to something like that, a show, and then you go home and get on YouTube and go down the rabbit hole and start looking up everything about it? I was in the rabbit hole till like 3 a.m. about everything Aladdin. And it's like, I don't want to hear Aladdin again. I went and looked at when it first came out and how the movie came out in 1992, and then it played for like 2 years before it ever went to Broadway. They tried it all over the place, and they said when it first started, it wasn't that good, like the play, the stage play. It took them a while to get there. But one of the most interesting things that I read was that the 2 lead characters, when they signed their contract, they were sworn to secrecy to not reveal how the culprit flew. Because supposedly they were the only ones that really knew because they had to fly on it, you know. So I can't wait to hear what Kathy has to say. And by the way, I'm glad you guys made it in your reserved seats back there. So I got to see it, and I have to be honest with you. Someone gave me and Martin some tickets to go, and Aladdin, I mean, the Disney stuff I love, but it's not really my most favorite thing, you know. I mean, I love it, but I mean, I was happy and I was grateful and I was thrilled, but I was like, meh, you know. They're free, so I'm going to go. I mean, I'm not going to give it up. Got dressed up and went. I couldn't believe that even with discount tickets, 2 drinks were $30. I nearly, if I had false teeth, they would have fallen out, but that's a whole other story. So anyway, went, and I was like, well, it'll be fun. I'll just sit back and enjoy it. I went with an open-minded attitude, and I said, there'll be some singing and dancing and carrying on. And man, it was really great and beautiful, and there was a lot of singing and dancing. And as it was going through and the movie was happening and the show was happening, I started seeing a lot of metaphysical ideas in the show itself. And it was really, really cool. I heard one of the reviewers, back to when I went down the rabbit hole, when it first came out on Broadway, one of the reviewers, I think it was the New York Times, said, wow, it's so much splash, and there's beads and sequins and feathers. It says, it looks almost like RuPaul's Drag Race just ended and they just put the garbage out. There was so much beads and feathers and all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the movie, I mean, I keep saying the movie because I love the movie as well. Everybody familiar with the movie? Are you familiar with the story of Aladdin? You know, it's a timeless story. And the end song is what really inspired me so much. Many of you may have heard that. Even if you haven't seen the show, it became a popular song as well. I think it was Peebo Bryson was one of the singers, and who's Patti LaBelle? I don't know. It was a big hit on the radio, put it that way. I don't remember the singers. You remember A Whole New World? Beautiful, beautiful song. And it just occurred to me as the song was playing, like, wow, this is a good talk. A whole new world. And that's what this is about, and that's what I've been referring to this, is that to have that whole new world, we have to change our perspective. Because just like a person is never going to change for you, the world is never going to change to where every situation in the world is to your liking. If you're waiting on that, you'll be waiting till the end of time. There's never going to be a time where everything lines up in the world that you can look out over it and say, I like all of this, every little bit of it, if you're waiting for it to change. There is a way to do that, though, and say, I like every bit of it when we begin to change inwardly. I love how in the lyrics, I printed them out so I would make sure and get it right. Let's see. So the chorus says a whole new world. And the second line is the telling line, a new fantastic point of view. Which that gives us a clue that the writers were saying in some way or another, even if they were just saying it subconsciously, the whole new world comes when you have a different point of view. And you begin to see things differently. No one to tell us no or where to go or say we're only dreaming. A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. And, I was probably reading some into it, but when I heard way up here, I was actually thinking how sometimes I feel in meditation, or when, our consciousness gets elevated and we're able just to see things through the eyes of love and see things through the eyes of beauty. One of my favorite movies, don't take your kids to it because it's very violent, but I love American Beauty. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It actually won Best Picture in 1999. And wow, I have never been bowled over by a movie like that movie. Just so many deep spiritual ideas and a lot of telling things about life. And the premise of the story is not too much to get into the whole plot, but one of the characters is a teenager who takes a camera around. This was before we had cell phones. He takes a little, I think it was like one of those, remember those VHS-C? They were VHS, but then they had the little bitty cassettes that went in. And he would take that around and film things. Even things that weren't considered likable. Like I remember in one scene, he filmed like a dead bird that had died and was laying on the side of the road. And in the movie, you begin to see that he has a great insight because he says that I see beauty in all of the world. I see beauty in everything. And there's this beautiful classic scene where he and his girlfriend watch this video of this plastic bag just twisting and turning for like 10 minutes. And he tells her beautifully, he says, there's a force behind all things. There's an invisible force that is moving us all together, something that we can't even see. And that's why I love that movie so much, is because the spiritual things and the fact that this young teenager, he was just a character in a movie, but how telling was it that he would film everything he saw and said that it was good, said that it was beautiful. So how do we get there? Man, it's difficult. Because guess what? We do. Judge, 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 judge. I do that because I took a course by this great teacher from LA named Jennifer Hadley. Some of you may know her. She has a great online presence and very wise. And she had us, when I was in the course a few years ago, she had us do this thing that the minute that we found ourselves judging anything about life, ourselves or another person that came by, you had to start singing that little song, judge, 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 judge. Everybody together, judge, judge, judge. Try it. I found myself looking really silly a couple of times out walking around the French Quarter, but I did it. And it really stuck with me, and it was a great little exercise to do. But the reason that we don't see beauty in the world and everything is because we judge. We've been taught to judge since we were very little. I mean, right off the bat, we're told this is good and this is bad. Well, who really said that? You know, this is right and this is wrong. And by the way, it's this judgment and this innate, strong sense to be right that is causing the divide in our country right now. That's it. There's this insatiable need to be right. I have got to be right. For many people, we've gotten past the point where you're able to sit down with someone and have a beautiful conversation and agree to disagree in love. Can we do that more often? Agree to disagree in love and allow someone to have their own point of view? Our need to be right, which also affects our need to see goodness and beauty in the world, comes from where everything comes from, our own sense of fear and insecurity. That's where it comes from. Because I know that when I'm secure in my truth, that I don't feel any need to argue or defend myself. When I feel secure in my truth, I feel no need to argue or defend myself. I remember when I was a teenager with my parents' church, and my parents were ministers, and they would take us out on these witnessing crusades. Oh God, it was so embarrassing. You know, I was in high school and I was like, oh my God. They would take us out on a Saturday to pass out tracts. You ever seen anybody passing out tracts? The little Christian tracts that try to scare you, like, you know. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody ever seen this at all? Or I'm in another, like a cosmic world. Paul is raising his hand. Well, anyway, we would go to different events, and sometimes even to the high school games. God, it was so, I mean, I could still feel the embarrassment. And we would go out, and we would go up to people, and we called it witnessing. And we would give them the little tract, which was really meant to scare them into getting saved. And I remember arguing with people over and over about it. You know, we'd find someone who was willing to talk to us in the midst of all the embarrassment, and then the next thing I knew, I was arguing with them about it. And I was a good arguer. I mean, I'm a good debater. And I would argue and argue and argue and argue and had all these great points. And you know what I realized? The reason I was arguing is because I didn't really believe that stuff myself. When you find yourself arguing, it's time to look within and say, what about what I am arguing about is not true for me. Because guess what? We're always arguing with ourselves. There's only one of us in the room, as we like to say. So the quickest way to begin to see a whole new world, to begin to see beauty in the world, is to begin to let go of judgment. Now, this is a hard thing to do. It's not easy. Because if we've been judging for a long time, our mind is conditioned to continue to judge. Just over and over. And it starts with our parents, who are well-meaning, and it starts with our schools that we go to. Immediately off the bat, we start looking at someone maybe that's a little different and begin to judge their appearance, or we begin to judge our own appearance. And it takes work to undo all of that conditioning that we're used to just automatically judging. There's no way to find peace in this world, and there's no way to see a whole new world unless we let go of judgment. And the quickest way to do that is very simple. It always comes back to us, is to begin to find that beauty within ourselves and stop judging ourselves. Do you ever say things to yourself worse than you would ever say to your dearest friend? Sometimes I catch myself and say, I have a good friend named Tim that I talk to quite a bit. We've known each other since the early 20s, and I say something to myself in my mind, and I go, man, that was awful. Would you say that to Tim? Like, heck no, I wouldn't say that to him. But here I am saying it to ourselves. Why do we do that? It's interesting. I think it's part of our awakening as we continue to let go of those things that are not us, as we let go and become the true beloved children of God that we are, and begin to exemplify that into the world. So here, I feel that shift and change coming. That's why I call today the grand reopening, because it seems like things are moving very quickly and fast, and things are changing very quickly and fast, and we're trying to keep up with that. That's why we're doing the streaming, and that's why I'm going to be continue to make some big changes in the service, because I feel like we're at a point that we really can begin to express ourselves in the highest and biggest way that we can, and begin to see through the eyes of love. Many times people come to me, we do our Course in Miracles group on Wednesday night, which is just a discussion. Anyone's welcome to come. You don't have to have any experience. It starts at 7 o'clock right after meditation. Many people come to me and say, can you tell me what Course in Miracles is about? And it's like 1,000 pages, so I don't know how I can tell you, except to say this, is that it teaches us to see the world through the eyes of love instead of fear, is basically what it does. Because the reason we don't see a beautiful world, the reason that we don't see a whole new world, is from within. Many times we're looking through the eyes of fear. I was an anxious little child. And that carries on with me today. Sometimes thank goodness that I've come so far from that. But I was very anxious as a child. And Cindy, who's not here today, we were talking about this in our group on Wednesday night. And I was talking about how when I was young, a teenager, while we were passing out those tracts at the football field, embarrassed, we watched this horrible movie about what would happen after the rapture. Anyone familiar with this concept at all? If you're Catholic, you probably don't know, because it's more, it's not something that's talked about a lot there, but in some of the other ones like Baptist, Assembly of God, which we're part of, this rapture is going to happen where Jesus is going to come back physically and we're all going to go up to meet him. And if you're not saved by those parameters, then you don't fly. You don't fly up. And I mentioned the point that they used to tell us that we could go to the cemetery after this event and all the graves would be uprooted. My mom would say, well, Granddaddy and Granny won't be in the graves, and we can go to the cemetery and their graves will be uprooted. And I'm telling this story, and as I'm going, Cindy says, oh my God. It's like, how are you here? Good for you. You made it. You made it here. And for a minute I had to think like, wow, I survived somehow. And all of us can tell that story in some way or another. Unless you were with a spectacularly awakened, enlightened parents, then early on in life you begin to get messages that there was something just kind of wrong with you. All of us heard that in some way or another. All done in love. And if it didn't happen with our parents, then it would begin to happen as we went to school. And well-meaning teachers would say certain things. I mean, kids have wide open imaginations. I think that kids see the world through the eyes of love. I think that they have this vast imagination. And what's the first thing we say? Like, don't run, you might fall down. Don't climb on that tree, you might fall out. And in their minds, they're thinking, wow, I can go up here and I could see the whole world. Something just kind of went wrong somewhere with most of us. I won't say all of this, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but I know for me, something went wrong, and I started to see the world through the eyes of fear, which caused me, I think that's what all anxiety and depression is about. And that is the reason that we're in this room today. We're here to remind each other, in whatever format that is, of who we are. As we reflect that divine presence back to each other. We say, it's been overused now, but we say namaste. And I think some people, I was in a yoga class one time and they started talking about namaste, and one of the people there said, I've been in yoga for 20 years. I didn't know what that meant. I thought we just did it after yoga. And what namaste means in one form or another, there's different ways to say it, but I paraphrase it as the divine presence within me honors and acknowledges the divine presence within you. That's what namaste actually means. And that is why I love coming together with this spiritual family, because sometimes when you're out in the world, how many people have all enlightened coworkers? Do you? Anybody? So imagine your day at work may not be the most enlightened time of your existence. How many entire family is enlightened? So when you go home, you're completely surrounded by enlightened beings. How many people's partners are completely enlightened? So when you go home, you're surrounded completely by enlightened beings. If you are, good for you. I'm jealous. But if you're not, life can be challenging. Once again, back to that need to be right. We all want to be right. And that's why I love coming together with the spiritual community, because we are here to remind each other, even if it's just a smile when someone comes in, or even it's with Sue and Sam making these waffles for us this morning, and these little things that just mean so much. That's the way we begin to see the world through eyes of love. So I was going to read, begin to close out, I was going to read this lyric, A Whole New World. I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride. And I want to hear about that carpet ride whenever we're done, Kathy. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. That being the most important line, the whole new world comes from a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming. A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, I'm crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. Unbelievable sights, indescribable feeling, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through an endless diamond sky. A whole new world, 100,000 things to see. I'm like a shooting star, I've come so far, I can't go back to where I used to be. A whole new world with new horizons to pursue. I'll chase them anywhere there's time to spare. Let me share this whole new world with you. Because as we begin to see the world through the eyes of love, then can we begin to share it with the people around us. I really believe, and I say this in meditation, it's not just like a bumper sticker, I believe that we are the hands and the feet and the voice of God. We are the presence of God. We are it. Remember the old story about the guy who was in a canoe in the middle of the ocean, and some guys came by in a big marine boat and said, we'll save you. He said, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And they go on, and then another cruise ship comes by, and they say, here, let us stay outside. He said, no, I'm praying. God is going to save me. So eventually he drowns. He goes up to heaven to the proverbial pearly gates. And he says, God, where were you? I drowned. He said, well, I came by in a cruise ship. I came by in a marine boat. We are those things. We are the hands and feet and voice of God in this world. And only when we begin to see a whole new world through the eyes of love, can we begin to share that with others? I adore the spiritual community, and I am so happy to be a part of it, and I'm especially happy to be sharing my birthday with you today. And thank you everyone that's called and given gifts and brought. So I have never seen so many birthday cakes. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these birthday cakes. I mean, I think there's 3 back there now, and I have 3 at home, so that's 6 altogether. Anybody wants a birthday cake? Please do stay and share some birthday cake with me today. But I really appreciate all the wonderful wishes, and I just sometimes feel like I've only begun. What's that song? We've only just begun doing. And that's not R&B, that's Karen Carpenter. I was singing an R&B. She would never do that. I'm in promises. A kiss for luck and we're on our way. I love Karen Carpenter. I love her heart on heart, I swear to God. On a weird note, I went down the rabbit hole. Well, I did. Watching, I love American Horror Story. I just do. I'm addicted to it. On FX, watch it. It's really gory, but it's good. In one of the scenes, the people are trapped in this bunker. It's in the future, and the apocalypse has happened, and these people are trapped in this underground bunker, and the entire world is decimated. But they have this little radio that receives signals. They don't know where they're coming from, but a song will start playing on the signal on the little radio. One of them was, remember that there's got to be a morning after. We're going through all the disaster movie themes today. Because that was from disaster. Remember Poseidon Adventure? Poor Shelley Winters. Poor thing. So, while they're there, this song came on that was very, very bizarre. It was called Calling All Intergalactic Spaceships. And I said, and it was this weird little song, and it obviously sounded like the 70s. And I said, that voice sounds so familiar. Who is singing this weird song? And it was truly Karen Carpenter. So I thought it was a joke the producers did, and I went online and found the video for it. It is the weirdest, freakiest thing I've ever seen. If you want to see Karen Carpenter like she's on acid, go and look it up online. I believe it's called Calling All Intergalactic Spaceships or something like that. I felt like I was in a whole new world because I'd never heard that before. Sometimes I really feel like I'm in the Matrix. Like, how did this get here? Like, how did Karen Carpenter appear singing a song about spaceships? I just couldn't get it. You know, I don't know where that came from, but anyway. Oh, Karen Carpenter sang We've Only Just Begun. I do feel like I've only just begun. And you experience this. I know many of you know this, is that behind my eyes and from where I'm at, I really feel like I'm 25 years old. You know, I go to not family reunions, high school reunions, and now with Facebook, I can just see it. I see people from my high school and think, God, they look so old. Like, how did they get that old? And I'm like, well, I don't look as old as them, I don't think, but if any of you are watching, I'm sorry, but you just do. I mean, I'm trying to tell the truth, trying to be authentic and honest here. But it's just weird to think that I'm 55 years old because I can't identify with that. I feel like I'm 25. Do you get this at all? Like, I just still feel vibrant and live and laugh and have fun and still a prankster. And, you know, I don't feel like that. So whatever age is, maybe it is just a number. But I am just thrilled and do as Karen Carpenter did before she did Acid and sang the song about spaceship. We've only just begun. And I feel also that's what's happening here with our spiritual communities. We continue to evolve. We're just putting all of this in the hands of Spirit. You know, God is driving the bus. And I have let go of all judgment about everything, about what it is to be a minister and what it is to be with the spiritual family, and just to show up knowing that at every moment we have the opportunity to love, and every moment we have an opportunity to show up as the hands and feet and voice of God. So may we all continue whatever work we do, whatever spiritual work we do, and continue to see the world anew, like through the eyes of children. Begin to see the beauty in all things around us. So today I thought it'd be wonderful, and I love that it's what time it is, and we're almost finished up, and we can go to lunch. But by the way, did we adjust the lunch bunch time? Sam, where did Sam go? Oh, she's the. We're adjusting the lunch bunch time since we're now starting to. Okay, so maybe 12, 15, or 12:30? Okay, cool. So today I would like this. I'm going to have Red come up and I'm going to share with you our world's religions. Actually, will you mind reading it? Or do some piano stuff? I thought it would just be appropriate. You know, we don't do this every service, but I thought it would be appropriate since part of the talk was, you know, the way that we see the world anew is to let go of all of our judgment of everyone. Whatever their viewpoint is, whatever their religion is, whatever their belief is to let go of judgment. And the only thing that we can do is become firm in our own belief and our true belief. And so, knowing this, we honor our world's religions.
Let us open our hearts and minds to accept the uniqueness of all. Native American practice is the path of honoring the earth and all beings. Shintoism is the path sensitive to nature's spiritual forces, honoring sacred spirits of ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Sufism is the path of daily communion with God. Christianity is the path of love and forgiveness. Taoism is the path of meditation and contemplation, focusing on the inner harmonies of the universe. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Judaism is the path of living by sacred law. Buddhism is the path of compassion, detachment, and mindfulness. Paganism and Wicca both see the sacred in nature as well as the individual soul, and seek understanding of the evolution and mystery of the universe. Unity is the path of empowerment and change through our conscious co-creation with Spirit.
Recognizing that there is only one life, one power, one presence. And we see that divine presence in all living things, in every spiritual path, in every religion, every lifestyle. We see the presence of God there. For wherever we are, God is. You are always loved, always guided, always protected, held in the hands of grace, safe in the arms of love. May your world become new every single day. May you continue to see this presence of life within you more clearly as each day passes. For you are a beloved child of God. This is the truth about you, and this is the truth about me. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so we come to the part of our service where we give to our spiritual family with gratitude, knowing that as we give, it is given back to us. As we are in a flow of prosperity and abundance. With gratitude, we say, thank you, God, that all of our needs are already met. And so we open our hearts to receive this morning. Here we bring our offering forward as an act of giving and drop it in the basket here by the candles and pick up an affirmation as you pass by. And anyone that's giving with a credit card electronically can meet Bill out in the Welcome Center. He can take that from you there. And also everyone on Facebook, you're invited to support our spiritual community. And right below the post that you're watching, there's a link there where you can give easily and securely with one easy click. As you support our vision of creating a world that works for everyone. So with gratitude today, we give where we are spiritually fed. Thankful. Thank you, God, for all that we have and all that we are as we give today. Grateful, grateful, I am grateful. again, grateful, grateful. Grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all that I am. All that I am. I'm grateful. I am grateful. One more time, let's say grateful, grateful together. Grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all that I am. All that I am. I am grateful. We are grateful to everyone that gives to our spiritual community. Thank you, God, and so it is. Amen and amen. Thank you all for joining us this morning. To help us to spread the word of our new time at 10:30, I think it's going to work out really good. It's going to be awesome. Once again, we welcome anyone that's here for the very first time, and you're welcome to take home this packet that I showed you earlier, and if you haven't already, and you choose to, fill out the little form on the back and let us know what you thought about the service. Anyone watching us today, streaming live, just send us your address, and we're happy to send this packet to you if you're interested in learning more about Unity, what we do here at our spiritual community, and what we do all over the world. So just a few announcements before we head out into the day. I can't wait to go get all my presents. I'm so excited. Every Tuesday night, Paul, will you let us know what's happening this Tuesday? This is our illustrious spiritual director, and Tuesday is always our spiritual education night, and he and Brenda always cook up something really, really good. So share that with us, Paul.
This Tuesday, we're going to discuss mystery. Believing those things that we cannot understand or know. And that's all I'm going to say because it's a mystery.
It truly is a mystery. Wednesday night, of course, is our faith lift in the middle of the week where we have at 6 p.m. we have meditation for an hour. Come join us for that. It's a time where we go deeply into the stillness with music and guided words. Also, take home this little sheet with you if you don't have it already. It will remind you of all the events that we have going on, and also, as we do every week, we're transparent about our finances, and their finances are on the front if you want to take a look at those. And come see the mystery class on Tuesday night. Right after the Wednesday night meditation, we discussed, I talked about it earlier today, the book, A Course in Miracles, which has deeply affected millions of people in the last 40 years. We have an open discussion about that. Everyone is welcome to come for that. Next week is our quarterly town hall meeting. So please join us. This is basically our board meeting, but we do this 4 times a year where everyone is invited. Well, everyone's invited all the time, but this is an open forum for our board meeting, and we have a town hall meeting. And this came from us last year when we had our annual meeting. Everyone said we should get together more and be enlightened about all the things and business of the church. So here we have it. So this will be, next week will be our town hall meeting. Will happen just right after church, and then we'll get out of here to make it to lunch bunch as well. Monday nights, Catherine has this wonderful, would you mind telling us about it really quick? Or would you rather me to? It's based on Eastern philosophies. Light yoga, Ayurveda. Okay. So if you're interested in Eastern philosophy and mysticism from the East, this is the great time to come. This is at 5:30 on Monday. Everything from the physicality of light yoga to learning other things about the healing modalities from the East. This happens at 5:30 now. And also, Catherine, when do you need the ride? So Catherine and Steve were in an accident, and we're so grateful that they're okay. They were in a really, really bad accident, but they are grateful, and they're fine, and that's what we're grateful for. But Catherine needs a ride to the doctor on Tuesday, right? So if anyone is available, what time is it again? I'm sorry. It has to be at 11 o'clock. So it's a morning thing, like mid-morning. If anyone is available to take a couple hours out of your day to give Catherine a ride, that would be a wonderful way to reach out, as I said, be the hands and feet of God and help her along with that. Their car is in the hospital, we might say. We do have the daily word available. What you heard Steve read at the very beginning of the service is a great way to get your day going. It's 2 months of daily devotions. They're out in the Welcome Center for just $5. Did we get a CD today? All right, give it up for Everett, yay! We have a CD of today's service. If you'd like to pick that up for just $5, you can take it home or share it with anyone that you would like to. And where is, keep looking at Sam, yes.
Today is also birthday Sunday, and it's also Annabelle's and Todd's birthday as well sometime this month. So
Okay, cool.
sing happy birthday.
Well, you guys come up then, Todd and anybody else have an October birthday? We skipped it off at the beginning. Come on, we gotta sing. I'll play. We got plenty of birthday cake, I'll tell you that.
And lunch fund will be at Flo Michaels on Edenborn and 17th.
Lunch bunch will be at Flo Michaels on Edenborn and 17. That's some great Vietnamese food. So everybody ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to me.
Jack's not the only one that has a birthday.
Yes, and there's plenty of cake, so please take cake for y'all. And once again, thanks everybody for bringing all this. This is Big Birthday Sunday. When's your birthday? What's the day? 17th. I love that. And speaking of fun stuff coming up, we have our annual Fall Festival on October 28th. If you haven't been here during this time of year, wear your costumes to church, and we're going to have some fun games after church and maybe a potluck.